Hello, everybody, and welcome into another Flyers news and rumors video here at the Hockey Writers. I'm your host, Matthew Zator, and as always, joined in by Justin Giampietro, who covers the Flyers here. And we're into the season now. We're a couple games in, and there's already stuff to talk about with the Flyers. So, Justin, let's just jump right in. And talking about Rick Tocchet, which, I mean, is his first season with the Flyers as head coach, and the criticism has already started with him. So I'll let you talk about that to start. I mean, there's already a lot about Tocchet going in so far.
Well, the thing is, I think there are differing perspectives. So far, as someone who has watched Michkov as a prospect and in the NHL, and for years, I have watched this player. I don't think there's been a worse stretch of 2 games for him ever. He has looked the worst he ever has, and that was not the expectation entering this season. And when you're talking about a guy like Tocchet, that confirmation bias kind of sets in, because you look at how he was talking about Elias Pettersson last season. On a podcast. He was talking about trying to reprogram his brain. That scared a lot of people, Canucks fans at the time, Flyers fans now. And he even talked about it in the pregame of last night's game, October 11th against Carolina. He talked about wanting Michkov to play a more north style of game. He didn't really clarify a whole lot what that means, but that is the direct opposite of how he plays. And so people are noticing that he isn't playing well, and he isn't playing much, only averaging a little over 14 minutes per game. He got benched for overtime yesterday, sounding a lot like John Tortorella.
Yeah.
People are making that connection. And so it's the perspective of, is Michkov just not playing well right now, and it's only his fault? There's definitely a point to be made there. Or is it that this new head coach isn't really a great fit? That would be a problem. He signed a 5-year contract, big money, $26 million was the reported cost. So maybe it's premature, but yeah, a little bit of an issue to start the year.
Yeah, I mean, I know both guys, Tortorella and Tocchet. They both coached in Vancouver. Tortorella only 1 season, and Tocchet for a couple here. And I mean, it is a criticism of his that he does seem to like the more defensive and kind of shutting down the offensive guys and more creative forwards. And I mean, it's not looking good to start. And I was saying when Tocchet was hired, I was even thinking about that. How's Michkov going to handle his coaching? And so far, it's not looking good, like you said. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Very early. I mean, this is a very early to kind of start panicking about it, but it's a bad trend to start the season, and we'll see if that changes or not. As Michkov is one of the Flyers' top offensive guys, and supposed to be for the next decade or so. And you don't want him to be kind of shut out of his offensive creativity so early. So yeah, we'll see how it all goes with Tocchet going forward here. All right, our next one is talking about a goal that was disallowed last night. It was last night, right? Mm-hmm. As we're recording this. The NHL did provide an explanation of why this was disallowed. Did you agree with their explanation with Bobby Brink not scoring, and ultimately the game was lost because of it?
I mean, I thought it was interference. Without showing the clip, I guess I'll describe it as best I could, as best I can. Sanheim was kind of in Frederik Andersen's grill a bit. He was pretty deep in the crease, and that led to Bobby Brink having a wide open, basically empty net to end overtime. Flyers thought they won for a good 30 seconds. There was just nothing. And then the situation room gets involved and the goal is disallowed. So it was weird how it was. Usually we know instantly right away this is being reviewed, but that wasn't the case. And so that rubbed people the wrong way. And Carolina scoring about 30 seconds later rubbed people the wrong way. Kind of unfortunate. I mean, I did agree with the call. There are a lot of fans who don't agree with the call. It depends on your perspective. I do think it was interference, though, and Sanheim's involvement in that crease led to the goal. But the NHL agrees with me. Some fans don't, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, the goaltender interference thing is all it's always that gray area. It's either really for sure or not. And then you're in that small area where you're like, it could go either way. So it's very interesting. Goaltender interference is probably going to be something we talk about every year, every season, every game sometimes. So yeah, it was an interesting thing, but ultimately they decided it wasn't a goal. And of course, the Flyers ended up losing that game. All right, well, let's move to some trade rumors, which, I mean, this has been going on for quite a bit. I mean, Bowen Byram has been connected, speculation with the Flyers. So, I mean, it's come up again in our latest news and rumors main column that comes out every day. I was mentioned again. So I'll get your thoughts on it. What do you think about Bowen Byram potentially being traded to the Flyers at some point?
It's an interesting thought because the Flyers defensively, they don't really have a number one long-term. They don't even really have a number two long-term. Travis Sanheim is the closest thing to that, but he is, I believe, almost 30 years old at this point. So long-term, you don't have a solution really. And I don't really think Byram is that, but I am intrigued by the idea, I guess, of taking a shot on somebody like that. I think he's more of like a number three, borderline first pair. But you get the idea, and you have to consider factors like the trade cost, the contract cost, and all these things, and how he'd fit into the lineup. But I like the idea of buying on somebody like that. I imagine they will, if it's not Byram, somebody else, because again, that is a need for them. They do need defensemen, and they haven't really drafted them too highly. They focused on forwards, they focused on centers, Porter Martone, a winger. In this last year's class, they took Jack Nesbitt, 12th overall. Those were their first round picks. The year before, they took Jet Lachenko, 12th overall, or excuse me, 13th overall. Again, another center. So they haven't really drafted D that high. So maybe the trade market is where they figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, the Byram, he just signed that 2-year extension with the Sabres, and not long-term, so there always is going to be those rumors that they might trade him at some point. And especially with, again, very early, the Sabres not starting the season very well. And I mean, if that continues, they're going to be looking at trading guys like that. And unfortunately, Sabres fans don't want to hear this, but that's, I mean, it's going to happen. So, I mean, we'll see how that all goes. But, yeah, I think the Flyers, especially with all the injuries like we talked about in the opening night roster video, that they're very thin, even healthy. So, I mean, there is going to be some point where they will address that. So we'll see if Byram's going to be the guy that end up trading for. All right, let's finish the show or finish our video here with some prospect news, which we're going to try to do this every week because as always, prospects and how they're doing. So biggest one is that Jack Murtagh, I know you really like him. I've talked about him a few times. He scored his first NCAA goal. What do you think about him kind of bursting the NCAA really early getting his first goal?
I haven't watched his games in their entirety, but I have checked in, and I thought he looked good. I believe he's playing third line. That's at least where he's listed at. But again, I haven't noticed any misplays or anything. He's just been really what he was last year. Just a great all-around player, can generate offense, and, you know, he scored a goal last night, again, as we're recording. I think he's fit in well. This is a very good team that he's playing for. Boston University ranked number 3 as of the latest rankings. So that's a big responsibility, and it's a pretty Flyers-heavy roster as well. Owen McLaughlin is there, and Carter Amico recovering from injury, so not really having the biggest role right now, but he's also there. So they're a team to watch for sure, not just because they're good, but they have a lot of Flyers influence there. So we'll see kind of how his role evolves over the season. But again, I just love the hustle he has. He's a very hardworking guy, and he's pretty skilled as well, as we saw last night.
Yeah, it's great to see him have success early on. And I mean, yeah, very strong team he's part of. So we'll see if he can even end up at the end of the season winning an NCAA championship, which, I mean, they're always in the conversation to do that. So we'll see how he does for the rest of the season. We'll keep checking in with him as well. All right, Justin, anything else? If talk about the Flyers, I'll let you finish off the show with any other thoughts you got of the last few days.
We talked about it at the start, but I guess it's kind of an anxious time for me, especially. I had big expectations for Michkov this year, and again, he hasn't played well. Like, this is legitimately a shock to me. The worst hockey I've ever seen him play, and he battled pneumonia as he was playing like a year and a half ago, back when he was in Russia. So to be, like I said, it's just a real something I'm looking out for. I'm hoping he can bounce back on Monday against Florida, another tough team, a team he's already played. But again, I hate focusing on one player specifically, but to be clear, he's kind of the team. Wherever he goes, the Flyers go. If he is not the superstar that I think he can become, the Flyers are not winning a championship now. Yeah. They're not winning a championship as long as he's on the team, because he is that important to them. That's where their rebuild is surrounded by. They're surrounded by Michkov. So just hoping for the best the rest of the way. But it is only 2 games against 2 pretty tough teams.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. And also, I mean, they got rid of Tortorella because he didn't really connect with Michkov. That's why I was interested. It was interesting that they hired Tocchet, but we'll see if they can kind of mend that relationship, or if he does end up, fitting in with the system that Tocchet wants, or how he wants him to play. But yeah, that's going to be something we'll be monitoring throughout the season on these videos for sure. So thanks, Justin, for coming on again, talking Flyers. We'll be back next week talking anything else that's happened. Hopefully the trend of Michkov struggling isn't a continuing topic we'll talk about. Maybe we'll talk about him succeeding. So, but until our next video, we'll see you next time.